This day 3 years ago, Irish woman Jean Tighe vanished while on holiday in Portugal. The Cavan woman was 38 years of age. Since then, her family have been liaising with Portuguese authorities about the investigation into Jean's disappearance. However, they say this hasn't been straightforward. They haven't given up hope of finding her, and recently successfully lobbied for her to be added to the Interpol missing persons database. Jean's sister Leona lives in New York but has travelled to Portugal on multiple occasions to help with the investigation. Ahead of the third anniversary of her sister's disappearance, I spoke with Leona last night about the latest in the search for Jean.
So my sister Jean is a beautiful young woman who's very easygoing, fun, always looks on the positive side of life, and Jean is a really good-natured person who would help anyone out any way she could and has done in the past. Jean disappeared on, we think, Monday, on the afternoon of Monday the 13th of July, and was last seen leaving the Help Yourself hostel in Parede outside Lisbon by a hostel worker. Apparently Jean had her handbag with her, and we've never heard or seen from Jean since. And that was 3 years ago to the day, and that's over 1,000 days, and we miss her dreadfully. And we just want to know what happened to Jean and where she is. And we don't believe that people just disappear.
It's an awfully long time to be experiencing that for you and your family, waiting for answers that you haven't been getting. As you say, we're now at the 3-year anniversary of Jean's disappearance. How has the investigation been progressing?
The investigation has been progressing very, very slowly. We've had to knock on a huge amount of doors. We have to get everybody activated to help us, especially the Portuguese police. And there on Monday evening, Jean was put up on the Portuguese police administrated missing persons database, which is very important, but it just goes to show you how long that took. That took a huge amount of effort and work. An awful lot of people involved here. And, there's an awful lot more work to be done. We still don't know what happened to Jean. We still don't know where Jean disappeared to. We still don't have Jean's bank account records, her social media footprint, her digital footprint, anything to do with her Facebook, Instagram, all these very ordinary things that we have nowadays that, give us that tell us basically how we live our lives.
And Leona, is there regular contact from the Portuguese authorities, from the police? Are they updating you on how things are progressing, and if and when they find any new information or new details come to light?
They don't update us regularly by their own accord. We have to constantly get on to the Department of Foreign Affairs and to the lawyers in Portugal to get movement and action from the Portuguese police. And we can't understand why that's so hard to get, because Jean has disappeared, a criminal investigation was opened, and I can't understand for the life of us how this is so slow, why we're not getting any information about what has happened in the investigation so far, what is, where they are with with Jean's investigation and what needs to be done.
I understand you received an update from the Minister for Justice just last month on what's been done on the Irish side in relation to this investigation.
So we received an update that the Gardaí and the Portuguese police are to have a video conference, meaning that the two of them would sit down together and exchange information, see what information has been gathered, and where do they need to go to progress the investigation into Jean's disappearance? That hasn't happened yet. 3 years has passed. That's over 1,000 days. I mean, no matter how slow Interpol is, it couldn't possibly be that slow.
You're living in New York from where you're speaking with me now. It must be quite difficult trying to stay up to date with what's happening from such a distance, but you've been to Portugal yourself on multiple occasions to try and find out any information. Explain to me how that process has been and what sort of toll then all of this is taking on you and the rest of the family.
Well, we keep going. Jean is a great goer. Jean is, not a person to give up, or Jean is a great worker too. So I know that my sister would want me to keep going, so that's what we do. But going over and back to Portugal and sitting in front of the Portuguese police and being told, this is what we're going to do and we will be in contact with you, and then it doesn't happen, sets us right back to square one. And all the time is ticking on. We're losing time all the time.
Leona, it's 3 years since Jean disappeared now. You say you owe it to her to keep going. Are you still hopeful of finding her safe and well?
Yes, I am, because I get a lot of messages from people from all over the world through the Facebook page that we have on Jean, who tell me that, they have found their loved one after 18 months, 2 years, 2.5 years, 3 years, 5 years. Apparently somebody was located over here in New York after 5 years. And the key to all of that was that their loved one was up on a missing persons database. Now, we've only just achieved that. So we've lost 3 years. I am there. So I'm hopeful that going forward, we really need to share this information on the database. As you know, there's a lot of charitable organisations and NGOs who cover the streets all over the world with their work. And when charitable workers come across somebody in distress, the first thing they do is look up these police administrated databases to see, is this person genuinely officially missing? And unfortunately, we never had that up until a couple of days ago.
Jean Tighe's eldest sister Leona speaking there about the search for her sister who went missing in Portugal in July 2020.